The Tolkien Road, Episode 103, The Lord of the Rings. The Black Gate is closed. Alright, go ahead. The Tolkien Road, 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 the Tolkien Road,
Hey there, fellow travelers. Welcome to the Tolkien Road, a long walk through Middle-earth. On this episode, we continue our journey through The Lord of the Rings with Book 4, Chapter 3, The Black Gate is Closed. Before we get started, why not hop on over to iTunes and leave the Tolkien Road a rating and feedback? It's a great way to show your support for the show and takes less than a minute. Or you can stop by TolkienRoad.com, learn about previous episodes, and say hey. We're also on Facebook at facebook.com/TolkienRoad. Thanks for listening, and enjoy. Hello everyone, welcome to the Tolkien Road, episode 103, Lord of the Rings, Book 4, Chapter 3, The Black Gate is open. Open for business.
Open. Well, that's surprising.
Yeah.
Because I thought that it was closed.
Yeah, well.
I guess I read the wrong chapter.
I think you read things a little too literally.
Oh, is that what I'm doing?
Yes.
Oh, well.
Alright, yeah, it's a stupid joke, John. Gosh, it's stupid.
Well, this episode's off to an awesome start.
Black Gate is closed, yeah. It's Black Gate is
Wait,
closed.
no, you're supposed to say the Black Gate is open, and then you should have said...
Now it's closed.
No.
Yes,
you should have said...
That's what I did.
April Fools.
Oh, yeah, it is April Fools.
It is April Fools.
Oh, man.
I know, we haven't done really anything to celebrate. Although one of my good friends told me that her...
Or have we? And you just haven't figured it out yet. Uh-oh.
Yikes. Now I'm scared. No, my friend was telling me that her 14-year-old son...
My name's not really John.
...turned their water off this morning. That was his April Fool's prank.
Smack.
Yeah. So, that's why you shouldn't show your kids where the main water shutoff is. Mm-hmm.
But you don't know where the main water shutoff is.
I certainly don't.
Yeah.
But I know where, the local ones are. I know where the sink one is. But anyway.
Or the really bad thing would be to turn off the hot water heater or something like that, and then you get in the shower or something like that.
That would be cruel.
Yeah.
That's not even funny. See, April Fool's jokes are supposed to have a bit of lightheartedness to them, right? It's supposed to be like...
There's always those people that go take it a little one step too far, though.
Always. There always is.
Into the level of cruelty.
Yeah.
Like young Sauron, we knew he was going to turn out bad when his April Fool's jokes just went a little too far.
That was the first
Hey guys, want a ring? I made you guys some awesome rings. You want a ring? They're beautiful, aren't they? Here, just put it on. It's all good. April Fools. Now I control your soul. Wah, wah, wah.
Yikes. That's horrible. Alright, we need to get off this April Fool's thing.
Yeah, the Tolkien Road is brought to you by our executive producer, William Hutton, as well as our... Dr. William Hutton, as well as our other generous patrons. Thanks, guys.
Yes, thank y'all.
Everyone should be thanking you for bringing the Tolkien Road to you. For bringing the Tolkien Road to them, I should say. Everyone should be thanking you for bringing the Tolkien Road to them.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That is the truest statement I've heard all day.
Yep.
And I'm not even April Foolsing.
Oh, that's good to know. We got to clarify that all along the way.
Gotta clarify.
If you'd like to contribute to the Tolkien Road, visit us on Patreon at tolkienroad.com or patreon.com/tolkienroad. When you contribute, you get access to all kinds of cool bonus content, like our most recent bonus episode on Tolkien's letter to his school chum, Geoff Smith, written in the midst of World War I. Jeff Smith.
Yeah.
Which, we're getting kind of a good number of videos up there that, if you're one of those binge listeners who's caught up and we just kind of can't keep the pace with you, that's another place you can go and you can get more Tolkien Road content, right?
Heck yeah.
You can actually download MP3 versions. If you don't want to watch the videos, you can download MP3 versions And if you just can't stand to look at us and just want to hear our voices, then you can download the MP3s if you're a patron.
Yeah.
If you're a patron. So
yeah. So be a patron.
go check it out.
Yeah.
Secret word stuff. So we need to make sure we streamline this process a little bit because we're starting to get a little confused on who's getting the answer first, right?
Oh yeah.
So who's crossing the finish line first?
Yes.
So
yeah.
from here on out, it's whoever gets it to Greta at tolkienroadpodcast@gmail.com.
The secret word
right?
guess. Yeah.
You got to
It has
send
go
send
Gmail.
your guess to Greta's to tolkienroadpodcast@gmail.com.
Or it don't count.
Or it doesn't count. We'll still say you got it, but the winner is going to be determined by whoever gets it into that email address first.
Right.
So
yeah. And one of the reasons we're doing this is because John is, well, I'm not actually the best email responder either, but John is not great about responding. And Shannon actually guessed our last two secret words.
Well, it was on Facebook, and Facebook, still just kind of like, Facebook and I are not the best of friends.
Right.
It's kind of ironic giving
That
you friend
is.
people on Facebook, but
Yeah, seriously.
I mean, I like Facebook's cool and everything for keeping up with people, but
Yeah.
it's a little kludgy from a user experience from my perspective, and stuff like you think people sent you stuff and you're like, where did that go? Or you want to respond to it
Anyway, send your secret word guesses to Gmail, tolkienroadpodcast@gmail.com. And shout out to Shannon, who is our winner for the last two secret words.
Yeah.
So 2 episodes ago it was whimsical. This past one was dastardly, chosen by Rob, that's a great word. Totally expanded my vocabulary. And Mary Grace also guessed the secret word dastardly, but her guess came in just a little after Shannon's.
Just a smidge.
So keep going, Mary Grace. You'll get it one of these days. I know you will. And she also commented on what a great word it was, and she wanted to give a shout out to whoever chose it. So here's a shout out from Mary Grace to Rob, the myth, the man, the legend, the Fangman.
Right on.
An awesome secret word choice.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Well,
we didn't actually get we didn't receive because you didn't respond.
Yeah, well,
Shannon
will get to pick a secret word for next time.
Yeah, so let us know, Shannon, what you want
send that to tolkienroadpodcast@gmail.com as well.
Send your next secret word choice to the Gmail account. And so today we have a guest secret word chooser, which is John.
Yes.
So be on the listen out for our secret word.
Here's hoping I can rise to the occasion.
I hope so. It's hard to, when you have to follow a word like dastardly.
I know.
It's kind of hard.
Yeah.
Big shoes to fill.
It is.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's get started. Let's move.
All right. Do we have correspondence?
Well, that's after. We're going to do that towards the end, right?
Oh, I thought we did some at the beginning and some at the end.
Well, if you got something that's pertinent to this episode, then...
To this particular episode or to last week's episode?
To this particular episode.
Oh, yeah, I don't think I do, actually.
Okay, well, we'll save it till the end.
Okay.
Save the rest of it till the end.
Sounds good.
All right. So here we are. We've made it through the marshes, made it through the rocky place, through the marshes, and now we are at the gate of Mordor, right?
Yep.
And Frodo is just ready to walk right up. He's like, I know that I'm probably going to get caught, but I came to do this, and I'm going to go do it. So let's start off by just looking at the description of the entrance to Mordor here. It's pretty... it's not exactly a bed of roses,
That, you can say that again.
Yeah, it's not exactly a bed of roses.
Oh, I thought you were going to say that again.
Oh.
Anyway. But yeah, it's not a bed of roses.
Right. Okay.
Absolutely right about that.
Am I talking here?
I thought you have your book open, so I thought you were going to read something.
Oh, okay. I am. All right, I'm ready.
Go for it.
Upon the west of Mordor marched the gloomy range of Ephel Duath, the mountains of shadow, and upon the north the broken peaks and barren ridges of arid Lithui, gray as ash. But as these ranges approached one another, being indeed but parts of one great wall about the mournful plains of Lithlad and of Gorgoroth, and the bitter inland sea of Nurnen amidmost, they swung out long arms northward, and between these arms there was a deep defile. This was Cirith Gorgor, the haunted pass, the entrance to the land of the enemy. High cliffs lowered upon either side, and thrust forward from its mouth were 2 sheer hills, black-boned and bare. Upon them stood the Teeth of Mordor, 2 towers, strong and tall. 2 towers. 2 towers. In days long past, they were built by the men of Gondor in their pride and power after the overthrow of Sauron and his flight, lest he should seek to return to his old realm. But the strength of Gondor failed, and men slept, and for long years the towers stood empty. Then Sauron returned. Now the watchtowers, which had fallen into decay, were repaired, and filled with arms, and garrisoned with ceaseless vigilance. Stony-faced they were, with dark window holes staring north and east and west, and each window was full of sleepless eyes. Across the mouth of the pass, from cliff to cliff, the Dark Lord had built a rampart of stone. In it there was a single gate of iron, and upon its battlement sentinels paced unceasingly. Beneath the hills on either side the rock was bored into 100 caves and maggot holes. There a host of orcs lurked, ready at a signal to issue forth like black ants going to war. None could pass the Teeth of Mordor and not feel their bite, unless they were summoned by Sauron or knew the secret passwords that would open the Morannon, the black gate of his land. And it says the 2 hobbits gazed at the towers and the wall in despair. So, this is Mordor is a well fortified place, right?
Yeah.
It is, it's basically got it's basically a huge fortress with walls made of mountain ranges. And then the one direct way in is like a giant gate, right? With 2 huge watchtowers and all kinds of people hanging out in front of it. Bad guys.
Real bad guys.
So I think Frodo and Sam are just standing there being like, how in the world, like, here we are, we got here, how in the world are we supposed to get
after all this
in, right?
And now we can't even get where we want to go.
Because, like, once we get in, what do we do then? Like, it's not like Mount Doom is right on the other side of that gate, there's still a good ways we got to travel even there.
Right.
Yeah,
in the enemy's territory.
Right.
Yeah.
Right, so it's kind of remarkable that Frodo is just, he's just determined, right? He's like, well, I'm going to go, right?
He's got some serious fortitude.
It definitely. So he, it starts to get a little more light, and it says the trumpets give a sound. Then suddenly the cry of brazen-throated trumpets was heard. From the watchtowers they blared, and far away from hidden holds and outposts in the hills came answering calls. And further still, remote but deep and ominous, there echoed in the hollow land beyond the mighty horns and drums of Barad-dûr. Another dreadful day of fear and toil had come to Mordor, and the night guards were summoned to their dungeons and deep halls, and the day guards, evil-eyed and fell, were marching to their posts. Steel gleamed dimly on the battlement. So not only is this place well fortified, but now it's daylight, and the changing of the guards, they got a bunch of fresh guards coming in to keep guard over everything. So it's not like they're into their shift and they're kind of like, all right, really ready to be off right now. I'm not really caring too much what's going on out there.
Yeah, they got fresh blood.
They got reinforcements. Yeah, fresh blood ready to keep the watch. And so it's just not looking good. Not looking good for
I'm
for
sure
our
they're pretty much on the brink of
friendly
despair
hobbits
at this point. At least I would be.
Yeah, I would be too. So Frodo says, so Gollum is kind of like, okay, I brought you here. He says, Master said so. Master says, bring us to the gate. So good Smeagol does so. Master said so. Wise Master. I did, said Frodo. His face was grim and set, but resolute. He was filthy, haggard, and pinched with weariness, but he cowered no longer, and his eyes were clear. I said so, because I purpose to enter Mordor, and I know no other way. Therefore I shall go this way. I do not ask anyone to go with me. No, no, master, wailed Gollum, pawing at him, and seeming in great distress. No use that way. No use. Don't take the precious to him. He'll eat us all. If he eats it, eat all the world. If he gets it, eat all the world. Keep it, nice master, and be kind to Smeagol. Don't let him have it. Or go away, go to nice places, and give it back to little Smeagol. Yes, master, give it back, eh? Smeagol will keep it safe. He will do lots of good, especially to nice hobbits. Hobbits, go home. Don't go to the gate." "I am commanded to go to the land of Mordor, and therefore I shall go," said Frodo. "If there is only one way, then I must take it. What comes after must come." I mean, you really have to, Frodo doesn't know any other way. So you really have to admire his fortitude, like you were saying, right? His resolve.
Mm-hmm.
He's
just one obstacle after the next.
And I'm trying to think about it. I mean, it's really, what do you do? So you're just going to basically walk right up to the gate, and you're just, this is a total, I almost wonder if it's right. What is this? Is this the walk of futility, realizing this is what I came to do, and I guess it's come to this, and so I'm just going to walk right up, and I know that it's going to end badly, but I'm going to do it anyway. Mm-hmm. Or is that what this resolve is, or is this the resolve of faith that okay, I don't know any other way, but I came to do this, and I just have to trust that something is going to happen. Yeah. I mean, it's hard to read it.
It is. It's a good question for sure, because you can kind of make a case for either. Mm-hmm. I think. At this point, I think Frodo's just over it.
Yeah.
I think he just wants to be done.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, I think he still has some hope.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. I don't know which emotion is heavier. I don't know.
Probably mixed emotions.
Oh, I'm sure.
Sure. I mean, it's hard to think of him just being that this is a move of despair, right?
Yeah.
Because is that what it would be if you look at the situation and you say, "There's no hope, I'm just going to do it," because, or is this more it's just interesting how the duality here, of on one hand utter despair of just I guess this is my fate, and Sauron's destined to get the ring, so I guess I just have to go. Let's just get it over with. Versus I don't know what's going to happen, but I've been told to do this, and so I'm going to carry out my duty and hope that something will deliver me. Right.
I think there's got to be some hope, because as we see as we read on in the chapter, when Smeagol proposes another way, he considers it, and at one point Tolkien paints this picture of him. It's almost like an agony in the garden kind of picture, where he's just trying so hard to remember everything that Gandalf said to him.
Right.
He really wants to do the right thing. I know he doesn't want Sauron to get the ring.
Sure.
I know he doesn't.
Yeah.
But I'm sure he's feeling pretty.
But does he just feel like it's unavoidable at this? And
I'm sure part of him does.
Yeah. So I think it's hard to make the case that he's just in complete despair at this point.
I think so too.
It's not like he's just
especially keeping the rest of the chapter in mind.
Right.
But I'm sure there's definitely elements of that.
Yeah. But Tolkien talks about despair, right? He talks about,
he does.
Immediately after this, it says, Sam said nothing. The look on Frodo's face was enough for him. He knew that the words of his were useless. And after all, he never had any real hope in the affair from the beginning. But being a cheerful hobbit, he had not needed hope as long as despair could be postponed. I liked that little thing. Being a cheerful hobbit, he had not needed hope as long as despair could be postponed.
Right.
It's kind of he knew despair was coming, but... as long as despair could be postponed,
Yeah, he's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, he just has to keep working at it.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Being tough.
Right.
Inside and out.
I don't know, it's a little fast, that I didn't think about it too deeply until it just kind of hit me, where is Frodo right now? Emotionally, spiritually, where is he right now as he faces this? And it seems like he's kind of at one foot in both camps, Yeah. One foot in the walking by faith kind of total faith walk kind of thing versus despair. And it's just interesting to think about any of those kind of situations in those terms.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Anyway.
Yeah.
But Smeagol is actually, so Sam is actually I guess he's got to do what he's got to do. And but Smeagol is the one who pipes up and says, no. Let's talk about something else. Let's talk about another way of doing this. Not this way, master. There is another way. Oh, yes, indeed, there is. Another way, darker, more difficult to find, more secret. But Smeagol knows it. Let Smeagol show you. All right.
So what do you think his motive is at this point? Do you think he's... I mean, I have a hard time believing that he genuinely cares what happens to Frodo. So do you think he's just in it for the ring? Like, is he just really trying to kind of weasel his way to a spot where he can get the ring back?
Well, let's look at what Sam is thinking about him down here a little bit.
Okay.
Right. Sam, you want to read that? Sam frowned. It's like a break in a paragraph.
See.
It's right there.
Sam said nothing. That's what that one says. No, that's not it.
Sam frowned.
Oh, okay. Sam frowned. If he could have bored holes in Gollum with his eyes, he would have done. His mind was full of doubt. To all appearances, Gollum was genuinely distressed and anxious to help Frodo, but Sam, remembering the overheard debate, found it hard to believe that the long-submerged Smeagol had come out on top. That voice, at any rate, had not had the last word in the debate. Sam's guess was that the Smeagol and Gollum halves, or what in his own mind he called Slinker and Stinker, had made a truce and a temporary alliance. Neither wanted the enemy to get the ring. Both wished to keep Frodo from capture and under their eye as long as possible. At any rate, as long as Stinker still had a chance of laying hands on his precious. Whether there really was another way into Mordor, Sam doubted.
And he kind of goes on. It says, and it's a good thing neither half of the old villain doesn't know what Master means to do, he thought. If he knew that Mr. Frodo is trying to put an end to his precious for good and all, there'd be trouble pretty quick, I bet. Mm-hmm. Anyhow, old Stinker is so frightened of the enemy, and he's under orders of some kind from him, or was, that he'd give us away rather than be caught helping us, and rather than let his precious be melted, maybe. At least that's my idea, and I hope the Master will think it out carefully. He's as wise as any, but he's soft-hearted, that's what he is. It's beyond any Gamgee to guess what he'll do next. So, I feel like even Sam has to admit that there's a division in Gollum, right? Like, over this. Like, that there may be actually a little bit of Smeagol that actually does have the best interest of Frodo in mind.
Yeah.
Right? And maybe because of Frodo's kindness to him. You know, that's beginning to come out, but it's having to grapple very heavily with the Gollum part, right?
That just wants the ring.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, I don't know, you know, time will tell. Actions speak louder than words, right?
You.
Actions speak louder than words. So, moving on just a bit, Gollum, Smeagol kind of is, telling Frodo about where he wants to take them. And in the middle of this, Frodo is still kind of not sure what to make of Smeagol as well, right? Is he really on his side? So a little bit later it says, Frodo says to him, I did not mean the danger that we all share, said Frodo. I mean a danger to yourself, Gollum, alone. You swore a promise by what you call the precious. Remember that. It will hold you to it, but it will seek a way to twist it to your own undoing. Already you are being twisted. You revealed yourself to me just now, foolishly. Give it back to Smeagol, you said. Do not say that again. Do not let that thought grow in you. You will never get it back, but the desire of it may betray you to a bitter end. You will never get it back. In the last need, Smeagol, I should put on the precious, and the precious mastered you long ago. If I, wearing it, were to command you, you would obey, even if it were to help leap from a precipice or to cast yourself into the fire. And such would be my command. So have a care, Smeagol. So, Frodo is still, even though at times he can seem like he's being a little bit nice to Smeagol, he still realizes he needs to be a little firm. He needs to be firm with him, right? Not give him, too much leeway.
Yeah.
And but at the same time, he seems to be warning him about the perils of the ring, right? You swore by it. You swore by the precious, so the precious is going to hold you to it.
Right. I think it really caught Smeagol off guard. I mean, I think he was surprised.
Right.
I think he maybe didn't know that side of Frodo existed.
Yeah.
But it also, obviously, it really kind of rekindled his hope, Sam's hope and trust in Frodo. I think he realized, okay, he's not as far gone as I was afraid he was.
Right.
Yeah.
So, Gollum, Smeagol goes on to, Frodo says, okay, go on, tell me about this way, this way into Mordor that I don't know about. So So it jumps down, and Gollum says, that is the road to the left. At once it begins to climb up, winding and climbing back towards the tall shadows. Well, and I should say he starts by describing like we can continue going south, not go into Mordor here, but continue going south, and then we take a left turn, right?
Right. That's the second way. Right.
That's the other way. And when it turns around the Black Rock, you'll see it. Suddenly you'll see it above, and you'll want to hide. See it. See it. What will you see? The old fortress, very old, very horrible now. We used to hear tales from the south when Smeagol was young, long ago. Oh yes, we used to tell lots of tales in the evening, sitting by the banks of the great river, in the willow lands, when the river was younger too. Gollum, Gollum. He began to weep and mutter. The hobbits waited patiently. Tales out of the south, Gollum went on again, about the tall men with the shining eyes, and their houses like hills of stone, and the silver crown of their king and his white tree. Wonderful tales. They built very tall towers, and one they raised was silver white, and in it there was a stone like the moon, and round it were great white walls. Oh yes, there were many tales about the Tower of the Moon. That would be Minas Ithil, that Isildur the son of Elendil built, said Frodo. It was Isildur who cut off the finger of the enemy. Yes, he has only 4 on the Black Hand, but they are enough. And he hated Isildur's city. Basically they would travel south and they take this left turn, going towards the western wall of Mordor, of the land of Mordor, right? So the mountain range that kind of goes down. If you look, you have a little map in the book,
yeah,
right?
I do.
So if you look at your map in the back, basically, let me see your map. Okay, you got the up close map. Mm-hmm. All right, so you see here, this is basically right where they are right now, right? They're kind of right here. That's the gate, right? They just came through the dead marshes, so they're about right here at this point.
Okay.
And they're saying we got to take this road kind of down this way, and
I see.
Through this woody area, through this forest, and then take a left, and here we go. It's what's labeled as Minas Morgul on there, was what was used to be known as Minas Ithil. Remember we talked about the Palantir?
Yes.
Right? The Palantir, the Palantiri.
Right.
And, Minas Ithil used to be like the Tower of the Moon, whereas Minas Tirith of Gondor was the Tower of the Sun, right? So they were kind of like twin towers, right? And Minas Ithil was eventually, it's so close to the wall of Mordor that it was taken by the forces of Mordor.
Right.
It was abandoned by Gondor and eventually taken by the forces of Mordor.
Okay.
So
this is the third way.
Right.
Right? Because he talks at one point about this road that, like, leads to, like, water, like,
I think
great water.
It gets a little confusing because the second way is not really any way into, it's almost like Gollum just kind of starts going off on a rabbit trail, and then I think in order to call it a third, in order to bring him back to how do we get into Mordor, he says, okay, what's the third way, right?
Oh, I see.
So
the second way isn't really a way to Mordor.
Right.
I see.
Right.
Okay, it's just another way.
Yeah, that's how I understood it, because I was like,
makes sense.
Third way,
yeah.
Are they going to go all the way around? Like, I was thinking maybe, did I miss something about trying to go all the way around? Like, go all the way down to the south border of Mordor, to the south, the south latitude of Mordor, and then go around, and then you can come all the way back up in. But that would take months, if not years, for them to do.
Yes.
Right.
Okay.
And they'd be going into this land where the south armies are coming up from, and all that. So that doesn't make sense.
So Gollum was just having a brain fart moment.
I guess so. He was just kind of like, oh, there's fishes down there. Maybe we can go visit the fishes. And remember, like,
and the yellow face.
Gollum doesn't. I don't think Gollum completely gets why they want to go where they want to go. I think he's like, let's just go away from Mordor, right?
Yeah.
Like, why do we need to go to Mordor?
It's a good thing he doesn't know, right? Doesn't Sam?
That's what Sam was saying,
that.
Right?
He's like, it's a good thing he doesn't know our purpose, because things could get ugly real quick.
Right. If he knows that we're going to destroy the precious, things might get pretty nasty.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like real nasty.
Yeah. Would not be a parade of roses, right?
No.
Just not at all.
Wait, you're talking about the Rose Parade? Or the Parade of Roses? Is that an expression?
Well, it is now.
Okay.
Because I just said it.
Okay. I've heard of the Rose Bowl and the Rose Parade. I just...
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure that they also don't have time to stop and smell the roses at this point.
Right.
I mean, they need to really get moving on.
They need to get moving.
They're kind of lollygagging.
Time to move on.
Yeah,
Time
they need to hit the
going.
road.
One last hit, I had no way of knowing. Under my feet, baby, the grass is growing. Time to move on.
Time to get going.
All right.
Move on.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so so he tells him about this third way.
Yeah.
And Frodo is seriously considering it.
Uh-huh.
He doesn't feel great about it, right? This is when he has his, like, agony in the garden moment.
Yeah.
And he's like, Gandalf, why did you leave me?
Right.
Yeah.
I think you've jumped ahead just a bit, but
I
with the
have
Gandalf
a tendency to do that.
Gandalf thing. That's okay. We'll come back to that. We'll come back to the Gandalf thing. But Gollum starts describing this way and like what it consists of. He says, "Well, Master, there it was, and there it is, the tall tower and the white houses in the wall, but not nice now, not beautiful. He conquered it long ago. It is a very terrible place now. Travelers shiver when they see it. They creep out of sight. They avoid its shadow. But Master will have to go that way. That is the only other way. For the mountains are lower there. And the old road goes up and up until it reaches a dark pass at the top. And then it goes down, down again to Gorgoroth." His voice sank to a whisper and he shuddered. "But how will that help us?" said Sam. "Surely the enemy knows all about his own mountains, and that road will be guarded as close as this. The tower isn't empty, is it?" "Oh no, not empty," whispered Gollum. "It seems empty, but it isn't. Oh no. Very dreadful things live there. Orcs, yes, always orcs. But worse things live there too. The road climbs right under the shadow of the walls and passes the gate. Nothing moves on the road that they don't know about. The things inside know. The silent watchers." So this sounds like a very creepy pass, but it's at least not as well guarded as this one. Right.
So it's like the lesser of two evils, really.
Yeah. And it's definitely a better chance than marching right into like wide open,
hey,
mouth of Mordor. It's
knocking
like
on the door.
Hey,
can we come in, please?
Hey guys, don't mind us. We just need to go visit Mount Doom for a bit. That's all. We're just pilgrims to Mount Doom. That's all. I know we look like hobbits and but we're really orcs and just want to go see Mount Doom.
And we're not going to do anything.
I mean, how would you pull that off? It's like
there's no way. There's absolutely no way.
Yeah.
Unless they could just be invisible the whole way.
Mm-hmm.
That's the only way. And we know Frodo can be invisible.
Mm-hmm.
But that is a catch-22.
Right, yeah, then he uses the ring and then but then Sauron knows senses where he is, right?
Exactly.
So
this is definitely Mission Impossible.
Mission Impossible.
At this point.
Yep. Hobbits must try to understand. He does not expect attack that way. His eye is all around, but it tends more to some places than to others. He can't see everything all at once, not yet. You see, he has conquered all the country west of the shadowy mountains down to the river, and he holds the bridges now. He thinks no one can come to the Moon Tower without fighting big battle at the bridges, or getting lots of boats which they cannot hide, and he will know about. And so Gollum is just basically saying, like, it's not exactly a good way, but it's a better way. Mm-hmm. He describes the pass. He says, "A little path leading up into the mountains, and then a narrow stair. Oh yes, very long and narrow. And then more stairs, and then," his voice sank even lower, "a tunnel, a dark tunnel, and at last a little cleft, and a path high above the main pass. It was that way that Smeagol got out of the darkness. But it was years ago. The path may have vanished now, but perhaps not. Perhaps not." "I don't like the sound of it at all," said Sam. "Sounds too easy at any rate in the telling. If that path is still there, it'll be guarded too. Wasn't it guarded, Gollum?" As he said this, he caught or fancied he caught a green gleam in Gollum's eye. Gollum muttered, but did not reply. So they give him a little bit of a hard time about that, whether it was guarded and all of this, and if it's still trying to figure out if he's trying to lead them into some kind of trap. Mm-hmm. But Frodo feels a strange certainty that in this matter Gollum was for once not so far from the truth as might be suspected. That he had somehow found a way out of Mordor and at least believed that it was by his own cunning. For one thing, he noted that Gollum used eye, and that seemed usually to be a sign, on its rare appearances, that some remnants of old truth and sincerity were for the moment on top. But even if Gollum could be trusted on this point, Frodo did not forget the wiles of the enemy. The escape may have been allowed or arranged, and well known in the Dark Tower. And in any case, Gollum was plainly keeping a good deal back. So they determine the way is guarded, but in the end, it might just be the better, the best option they have.
Yep.
It's called Cirith Ungol. This pass is called Cirith Ungol, the tower.
Okay, so can I ask you about this real quick? So this was a little bizarre to me. So, like, most of this chapter is, obviously conversations between Sam and Frodo and Gollum / Smeagol, right? And now they were talking about this third way. And then all of a sudden, is this like a narrator that juts in here and says, its name was Cirith Ungol,
yes.
the name of dreadful rumor. Okay.
Yes, Cirith,
I'm sorry. I don't feel like that's happened before. Like this random narrator.
It happens every once in a while.
Okay.
It happens every once in a while.
Because I almost felt like it just seemed a little odd to me.
Yeah, I can see why you think that, but Tolkien does that every once in a while. Just kind of like interjects. I'm not even sure what you call that third person. But
a narrator.
Well, no, I'm just saying like the more literary term for the perspective, right?
I see what you're saying. Yeah.
Because here he is in this. I mean, but you think about it.
I mean, there's no other way to do it,
right?
Right? There's no other way to get that background.
Is the narrator processing it through the minds of the characters that are in question here, or does the narrator actually step back to a more godlike perspective and say, like,
that was kind of the feeling I got. It was like this all-knowing, above all, storyteller that was kind of there to fill in the gaps.
Right. No, but that's not one of the characters. That's the omniscient voice.
The omniscient voice. Okay.
Yeah.
The OV. That's what we'll call him.
Right on.
Yeah.
So Cirith Ungol, Aragorn, and it talks about how Gandalf and Aragorn might have warned them away if they had known that they were going to be invited down to this, but at that very moment, at this very moment, the Palantir is being tossed out of the window, right, at Orthanc.
So those events are.
So that's interesting because I remember last chapter we thought that maybe the black, because remember there was a part in there that one of the Black Riders took off really quickly. And we thought that was from Pippin. Yeah, Pippin touching the.
But that would have happened after it was tossed out the window, so that couldn't have been it.
Yeah, so I remember there was another time though that they saw a Black Rider before that. I think it was maybe right after the Battle of Helm's Deep or something.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
I don't remember.
But anyway.
So you're saying that's probably not what that wasn't.
We're probably wrong about that. Yeah.
Okay. But then it's interesting though because the Nazgul show up again. Mm-hmm. So maybe these Nazgul were summoned by Pippin's.
Yeah, well, I think part of it was they were, they're probably just doing recon, right? Like just trying to see what's going on outside the gates of Mordor, to have that high view and spy out the land and see if there are any armies approaching.
Yeah,
because it really does sound like that Sauron is planning for an army to come, right? Like he is expecting an army of.
Yeah, that would explain all the people up on the walls and.
Right.
The rotation of soldiers and.
Yeah, he's expecting like a huge confrontation and that's what he wants.
Right.
Right.
So he's just setting these Nazgul out on kind of patrols.
Right.
See what you can see.
That's what it seems like.
So they're not specifically looking for the hobbits at this point.
Right.
They probably don't know they're there.
Maybe not. I mean, I think they know about the hobbits because they know about them from a while back, right? Yeah. From Fellowship.
Yeah.
I mean, one of them stabbed Frodo, right?
Yeah.
So, but they don't really come down for a close look. So I don't think they know necessarily that the hobbits are by themselves.
Got it.
Right?
Yeah.
Because all their spies would probably know that by now they probably have some idea that there were some hobbits caught because Merry and Pippin get caught by Saruman's forces, and there's probably some idea that, the hobbits are over there in that land, right?
Mm-hmm. But their appearance here is most likely unrelated to the Palantir episode at Orthanc.
Yeah, I don't think they're there yet.
Yeah.
I don't think we're there yet in terms of what's going on over there.
Okay.
So, and then we get this little, what you were referring to earlier about Gandalf. You want to read that chapter about Gandalf? Or that paragraph about Gandalf?
Which says, maybe Frodo felt it.
Yeah.
Maybe Frodo felt it, not knowing it, as he had upon Amon Hen, even though he believed that Gandalf was gone forever in the shadow in Moria far away. He sat upon the ground for a long while, silent, his head bowed, striving to recall all that Gandalf had said to him. But for this choice he could recall no counsel. Indeed, Gandalf's guidance had been taken from them too soon, while the Dark Land was still very far away. How they should enter it at the last Gandalf had not said. Perhaps he could not say. Into the stronghold of the enemy in the north, into Dol Guldur, he had once ventured, but into Mordor, to the Mountain of Fire, and to Barad-dûr, since the Dark Lord rose in power again. Had he ever journeyed there? Frodo did not think so. And here he was, a little halfling from the Shire, a simple hobbit of the quiet countryside, expected to find a way where the great ones could not go, or dared not go. It was an evil fate. But he had taken it on himself in his own sitting room in the far-off spring of another year, so remote now that it was like a chapter in a story of the world's youth, when the trees of silver and gold were still in bloom. This was an evil choice. Which way should he choose? And if both led to terror and death, what good lay in choice?
Yeah, that's a good last line. If both led to terror and death, what good lay in choice?
Yeah.
Right.
Why choose it all? Right.
Right.
Just
yeah. That kind of relates to what we were talking about earlier with
the despair and
yeah.
Well, this is a cool reference to the Silmarillion.
Yeah, it is, isn't it? Right.
Yep. Trees of silver and gold.
Yeah, trees of silver and gold were still in. Yeah. So it's interesting because he's saying, like, even just his time like in Rivendell seemed so far in the past now. Like it almost seems as remote as something from an ancient, the ancient tales
like
of
life.
The First Age, right? Or the prior to the First Age, right?
Right.
That he wasn't even alive for, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, if you don't know what we're talking about there, then you need to go back and listen to, like the first 50 episodes.
Yeah, right.
With the Silmarillion. So if you're one of these people that just want to read Lord of the Rings, if you want to understand more about that, then go back and read or listen to the Silmarillion episodes and read the Silmarillion.
Yeah.
So, and buy my book Tolkien's Requiem because you can learn all about it there.
And there's a silver and a gold tree on the cover.
You can buy that book if you never read the Silmarillion. You can buy Tolkien's Requiem, and you can read it in just a couple of days, and you'll have a good idea of how the whole thing fits together. Mm-hmm. And then you're like prepped. You're ready to go read Silmarillion. Right, you're like, man, I got this.
Yeah,
like, I know what's going on. I know what the two trees of Valinor are.
Mm-hmm.
I know who Feanor is. Mm-hmm. I know what the Silmarils are. You'll know all that stuff,
and you'll be the life of every party that you attend because of that.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. People will bring you bouquets of roses, and because of your knowledge of these things, women will be like, a really handsome man just gave me these, but you deserve them because you've read the Silmarillion. That's right.
It could happen.
Yes, probably.
It very well could happen.
Mm-hmm.
And how would you know if you don't do it? So you just got to try and see if it happens.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. Because you should. And
do it.
Roses are pretty and they smell good.
Mm-hmm.
And life is not actually a box of chocolates.
Yeah.
It's a bouquet of roses.
That's right. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's what Forrest Gump said.
That is, yes. I believe in Forrest Gump too. That's what he said.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Part 2. Forrest Gump Part 2. All right. So, yeah. So just no good choices here, but they decide to take Gollum's road, his advice.
Mm-hmm.
The riders are up in the air. The feeling of dread passes. They don't come too close. They don't really feel like they've been seen at this point.
Right.
And at that point, they start hearing this singing and shouting. It says a new fear was upon them. At first, it seemed a long way off, but it grew nearer. It was coming towards them. It leaped into all their minds that the Black Wings had spied them and had sent armed soldiers to seize them. No speed seemed too great for those terrible servants of Sauron. They crouched, listening. The voices and the clink of weapons and harness were very close. Frodo and Sam loosened their small swords in their sheaths. Flight was impossible. Gollum rose slowly and crawled insect-like to the lip of the hollow. Very cautiously he raised himself inch by inch until he could peer over it between two broken points of stone. He remained there without moving for some time, making no sound. Presently the voices began to recede again, and then they slowly faded away. Far off a horn blew on the ramparts of the Morannon. Then quietly Gollum drew back and slipped down into the hollow. "More men going into Mordor," he said in a low voice. "Dark faces. We have not seen men like these before. No, Smeagol has not. They are fierce. They have black eyes and long black hair and gold rings in their ears. Yes, lots of beautiful gold. And some have red paint on their cheeks, and red cloaks, and their flags are red, and the tips of their spears. And they have round shields, yellow and black with big spikes. Not nice. Very cruel. Wicked men they look. Almost as bad as orcs, and much bigger. Smeagol thinks they have come out of the south beyond the great river's end. They came up that road. They have passed on to the Black Gate. But more may follow. Always more people coming to Mordor. One day all the peoples will be inside. That's kind of an ominous thought.
Yes, all the peoples will be inside. And I think I'm just really ready, for some light, for some good thing to happen. Because when I was reading this part of the chapter, first when they started talking about the winged creatures, I was like, oh, maybe it's the eagles. The eagles are coming to their rescue.
Right.
And I'm like, oh no, it's Nazguls. And then I read this part about the singing and voices. I was like, oh, maybe Gandalf and Aragorn, I found them. And I was like, oh no, just a nasty army headed for Mordor.
But you do get a poem about Oliphaunts.
That was actually a very welcome sight.
Yeah, Sam's like, are there Oliphaunts?
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 Oliphaunts. I think you need to say it with the French accent.
Oliphaunts.
Oliphaunts.
Oliphaunts?
Merci beaucoup.
Do you want to read the poem?
Oliphaunts?
Sam,
Can I read it with a French accent? Just kidding.
No.
Yeah, I'll read the poem.
No, you cannot.
Okay.
No, you may not. You're forbidden from reading it with his French accent.
Okay, fine.
But yeah, Sam, hearing all this, the first thing Sam could think of is, are there elephants? He wants to see elephants.
Well, who wouldn't want to see elephants?
Yeah.
Alright, here's the poem. Gray as a mouse, big as a house, nose like a snake, I make the earth shake. As I tramp through the grass, trees crack as I pass, with horns in my mouth, I walk in the south, flapping big ears beyond count of years. I stump round and round, never lie on the ground, not even to die. Oliphant am I, biggest of all, huge, old, and tall. If ever you'd met me, you wouldn't forget me. If you ever do, you won't think I'm true. But old Oliphant am I, and I never lie.
Nice.
That's a tale from the Shire.
Mm-hmm.
And it made Frodo laugh, which was probably worth it.
Yeah, that's the beauty of this thing is he had laughed in the midst of all of his cares when Sam trotted out the old fireside rhyme of Oliphant, and the laugh had released him from hesitation. I wish we had 1,000 Oliphants with Gandalf on a white one at their head, he said. Then we'd break away into this evil land, perhaps. But we've not. Just our own tired legs, that's all. Well, Smeagol, the third turn may turn the best. I will come with you. So he decides once and for all that they're following Smeagol's path. But they don't. So to answer Sam's question, they don't see any elephants right now.
No.
Right.
No
All they see is the men of the south, all in red and gold. But they don't see any of the giant beasts. And Sam, that would have really brightened Sam's day. It sounds like
it would have
seen an elephant.
But his poem brightened Frodo's day, so
right.
It wasn't for naught.
It's kind of funny though, because if he'd seen elephants, it would have been probably a bad thing for them, right? Because just more power. Right, it was bad people, the bad guys.
Probably gotten trampled real easy.
Yeah. So no elephants today, and that is the end of the chapter. On to the next. On southward.
Southward.
Going to the secret way, Gollum's secret way.
Cirith Morgul.
Cirith Ungol.
Ungol. I was close.
Cirith Ungol.
Cirith Ungol.
All right.
Alrighty, Rudy.
Any other thoughts about the chapter?
Nope.
All right, well,
I think
it's Haiku time.
Awesome.
You going first?
Sure, I'll go first. Do I start now?
Go.
Now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17 syllables in haiku.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17 syllables in haiku. Yeah.
Awesome. Explosions
in
the sky.
All right.
You want to go first or want me to? Do you have one?
I do. Do you?
Yeah, I do.
All right. We're doing paper, rock, scissors, right?
Yeah, let's do rock, paper, scissors, actually.
Rock, paper, scissors, shoot.
I win again.
You win again.
You go first.
Okay. It's getting dark. Too dark to see. Feels like they're knocking on Mordor's door.
Do you have the music queued up?
Hey, Hey, yeah.
I can't believe you didn't have it queued. Come on. What are you doing?
What do you want me to play? Do you want me to play Bob Dylan's version or Guns N' Roses version?
Guns N' Roses version.
Yeah,
Did
like
you even have to ask?
I like that. Yeah. Anyway.
That was awesome.
Axl Rose is kind of like Gollum in a way. He's got like two voices he sings in. I'm not saying that to insult Axl Rose. I don't really think he would care anyway. He's kind of beyond worrying about this kind of thing, I'm sure. But
that's probably true. Other things to worry about.
But, like, he sings in that, like, low voice, and then he sings in, like, the high voice, like the high, raspy falsetto,
That's true. That's true. Yeah. That makes him hard
to sing. It almost sounds like if you didn't know, you would think it was two different singers,
I guess so. I guess that's true. Well, good one, Johnny. I liked it.
Yeah, thanks.
I kind of wish I had gone first, because I don't know how I can follow that up. But anyway.
You can't, but you can try.
But I can try.
It's despair. Hope. It's kind of like Frodo. You're kind of like Frodo.
I'm actually
with the ring,
totally in Frodo's shoes right now.
Walking up to the main gate of Mordor.
I am. And I'm like,
how am I supposed to do this? Well, I got to do it anyway, so I guess I'm just going to go do it.
Might as well just get it over with. Mm-hmm. All right, here's my haiku.
Don't cry, Greta.
I'm not going to cry.
Don't you cry tonight.
I won't cry tonight. I'll try really hard not to cry tonight.
Sweet child of mine, don't cry tonight.
All right. Are you ready?
Mm-hmm.
Are you finished?
I'm done.
Can I have my moment in the sun, please?
Yes.
In the yellow face. Maybe
Except,
is what I should say.
Except, what would happen after you walked up to the door of Mordor?
They crumple up my poem and throw it back at me.
Welcome to the jungle, baby! You're gonna die!
Oh my goodness. Wow.
Lots of Guns N' Roses.
Lots of Guns N' Roses lyrics are appropriate for Tolkien works, apparently. All right.
It ain't Paradise City, that's for sure.
Okay. Are we, for real done
Greta, all you need is just a little patience.
I'm deep breathing. I'm keeping my calm. Are we finished? For real?
Yeah.
No, you're just gonna pull up. All right, you just pulled up another album, didn't you? To try and use some more songs. Okay. All right. Here's my haiku. An evil choice. Oh my gosh.
Sorry.
Help me. All right. Are we done?
Go.
All right. I don't know if I can trust you.
I'm good.
I got it out of your system. You got it out of your system. Okay. All right. An evil choice for nice master. Can good Smeagol be trusted? Sam? Sam?
Good.
Yeah, I know. It's pretty great.
Mm-hmm.
I'll take it. All right, we have some other haiku from our listeners. Mary Grace is sent us 3.
Oh man.
She sent us 3.
Nice.
And here we go. I'll read the first one. Where do we go now? The way is shut, but now on to binding darkness.
Yes! That was awesome, because you know what the first line of her poem was?
Where do we go now? Oh, here we go.
That's awesome. She didn't even mean to do it.
Where do we go?
Where do we go? Oh, where do we go now? Where do we go now? Where do we go? That's just...
Thank you for making John's day, Mary.
That was awesome.
That was absolutely, totally awesome. Just fit into our Guns N' Roses obsession perfectly. Boom. All right, gonna read our second one?
Heck yes.
All right, do it.
An Oliphant rhyme. Thoughts of company far off bring hope to Frodo.
Oh, I like that.
Nice.
That's good.
Want me to finish it off?
Yeah, finish off it. Finish it off.
Okay. To Minas Ithil, on the road again, condemned to naught but peril.
On the road again.
Not appropriate in this case.
I can't wait to get on the road again.
Just can't wait to get on the road again. Going to Mordor where I'm probably going to die. I can't wait to go.
Yeah, you're right.
Good stuff, Mary Grace. Good stuff.
Awesome, as always. Thanks, Mary Grace. We also have a note from Aaron the Reason. He's been busy.
What is the reason for his absence?
Right, he's been very busy of late with work and life in general.
It happens.
It does happen. But I'm going to let it slide because he referred to me as the incomparable lady of the Haiku drum. So
Nice.
I'm good. So here he sent us two. I'll read the first one. You read the second one from Aaron the Reason. He writes, "Gates offer no way. Smeagol tells of other path. May third time prove best." Yes, third is often a charm.
Mm-hmm.
As the saying goes.
Gollum in danger. Precious his special peril. His oath sworn to it. Right on.
Good stuff, Aaron. Good to hear from you.
Good stuff.
Thanks for writing in.
Yes, sir.
Always good to hear from you. We have another. We also have a note from Amanda, who she wanted to say. She said, before broaching the subject of haikus, I just had to ask: did you know that Sir Christopher Lee read the audiobook for the Children of Hurin? Did you know this?
I did not know that.
No, she said, how awesomely epic is that? And then she sent us the YouTube link for it, so that's awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you, Amanda. And thank you for the haiku. I will read your first one. She says, "Despair, like black smoke, issued forth from the black gate. Horns, the way is shut."
Nice.
Boom.
All right,
2.
and her second one. Counsel from afar. Gandalf thinks of the hobbits. Fate follows Gollum. Nice little bit of alliteration there.
Alliteration.
Fate follows.
Fate follows. Nicely done, Amanda. Thank you for continuing to communicate. We have another one. We have Josh. Superfan Josh. He
Follow Tolkien Road on Twitter. At Tolkien Road.
Yes, at Tolkien Road.
That's right. Everyone.
And remember, he's going to feature...
We're commanding you. If you're listening to this and you're not doing it yet, you need to go do it right this second.
Right. Like right now.
Mm-hmm.
And he's going to feature somebody's haiku on Twitter. So another reason to follow.
Awesome.
And Josh kind of beat us to the punch here. He attached an explanation for both of his haiku. So we don't have to ask him what they mean. So here's his first one. Haiku number 1. Tower of the Moon, the second of 2. Orthanc, now long forgotten.
Nice.
And he said this haiku refers back to the title of the book. Mm-hmm. Though officially the two towers are Minas Morgul and Orthanc, I personally am dissatisfied by Tolkien's decision. This is ironic since he was dissatisfied with his own initial choice of towers. Nonetheless, I am willing to accept those structures as being the two given their in-world significance and importance to the plot. I much preferred PJ's interpretation as the two being Barad-dûr and Orthanc, though under different circumstances and not those as depicted in the film.
Yeah, it's interesting. There's I realized because the line "the two towers" was in this chapter, but it referred to the Teeth of Mordor, right? The two towers that stick up at the entrance to on either side of the gate. Right. So it's interesting, like how appropriate that title really is for this part of the book, right? Because you got those two towers, and you have Minas Ithil or Minas Morgul and Minas Tirith, right? Which don't play a huge part in the story, but they do nevertheless exist. And then you have Orthanc and Barad-dûr, right?
Right.
So you have all these like duality, like all these towers kind of existing in this story, and just kind of the whole idea, like you have literal towers, and then you have like basically the two towers of like one of good and one of evil, like vying, building to this big showdown between them. Right?
Yeah. You're absolutely right.
Yeah. So
cool.
Yeah, it's good, appropriate title. So cool haiku. Here we go. All right.
Josh's second one.
Haiku number 2. The call answered. Orcs, men, and dark beings gather now in the dark lands. And Josh says about this one, I must say that one of the most enigmatic things for me in Tolkien's Middle-earth is the existence of those men from the East. I know that parts of their history is illustrated in the Silmarillion and other Middle-earth texts, but like the Blue Wizards, they are somewhat more underdeveloped in my eyes. Yeah, there's it is like there's a lot of mystery associated with the men from different lands. We'll never, I guess, know for sure, but maybe if we get a chance, at some point to dig into some of the history of Middle-earth works a little more, we can learn more about.
Yeah, about the armies from the... Where are they from? The south? The east?
South.
The east.
Yeah.
The south. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Good stuff, Josh.
Good stuff, Josh.
Thank you much. We also have a note from Matt Scarrance.
Matt.
He sent us a haiku.
Cool.
And then he also has the note, because we had asked a question about something in the last chapter that he commented on. So I'll read the haiku and then we can read his note.
Yeah.
He says, here's my haiku for Book 4, Chapter 3. Darkness closes in. Hobbits, the gate is now shut. Gollum knows the way.
Cool.
He says, not great, but better than nothing.
Serviceable.
Serviceable.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Gets the job done. It is a haiku.
Yes.
So
it meets the criteria for
right.
haiku. So we'll just... Well done. Thank you. He also he told us that episode 100 was epic and really made his day.
Awesome.
And that he was cheering for us all through episode 101.
Sweet.
Yeah. So thanks, Matt, for being such a loyal listener.
Yes, indeed.
So
thanks for the kind words about episode 100 too.
Yeah.
That was we just kind of...
It was kind of off the cuff.
Yeah, it was fairly off the cuff, and but it was a little more of a chance to just open up my own heart about why we started this podcast in the first place, and just some of the stuff I hope to develop more going forward.
Yeah.
So
glad you enjoyed it, and thanks for the
definitely.
encouraging words. Matt also shared, he says, I think it was in the Passage of the Marshes where you came across the confusing sentence, more than I can, I begin to feel. Mm-hmm. Remember we talked about that was Frodo said it, right? He said, that confused me as well, but I think it makes more sense if you turn it backwards, so to speak. I find that helps a lot with some sentences in Tolkien. So, if we can nurse our limbs to bring us to Mount Doom, that is all we can do. I'm beginning to feel it's more than I can do. In context, this hopefully makes more sense, so I do think you were going in the right direction with your discussion of Frodo's mental state. So this is how he wrote it out. He used brackets.
Mm-hmm.
Which I don't know what
if we can nurse our limbs to bring us to Mount Doom, that is all we can do. I'm beginning to feel it's more than I can do. Okay. Yeah, I see. I kind of have an idea of what he's getting at there. Yeah, that works for me. I mean, that interpretation works for me. I don't see any issues with it. So, I like it.
Yeah, I like it too.
Good stuff.
Thanks, Matt. Thanks for the note.
Thanks for indulging our curiosities and helping us to kind of understand something that was confusing.
Yes.
Appreciate it.
Yes, we do. Appreciate it. Oh, you know what? Aaron, the reason also extended a belated congratulations on our 100th episode. And he says he can't wait for the next 100.
Awesome.
So, thank you, Aaron.
Thanks, Aaron.
Good stuff. And then we have one more note from David Bigwood.
David.
And he, shout out to David.
Yeah.
He commented on the Passage of the Dead Marshes, our discussion, where we were we were kind of surprised about Tolkien's description of the Dead Marshes, and he said that from what he's read, those descriptions are based on his experiences in World War One. And he says over the years, he first read Lord of the Rings in 1970. Over the years, he's read many books about Tolkien and his works. One of the best is Tolkien and the Great War, The Threshold of Middle-earth by John Garth.
Ah, yes. I've heard good things about that one.
Just how horrible it was to be in that mess.
Yeah.
And
on that note, if you want to know more about just a little glimpse into Tolkien's experience in World War I and how it affected him, we one of our videos, I mentioned this I think on last episode, one of our videos over on Patreon is concerning a letter that Tolkien wrote after the death of one of his close friends, and it's really
You mentioned
interesting.
that at the beginning of this episode as well.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So anyway, it's go check it out. You can get it if you sign up to be a patron. You can get that one, and amongst other many videos.
Yeah.
Many other videos.
Good stuff. The other thing that David mentioned, he said, one thing I expected to hear was a comparison of Lembas and the Viaticum.
Viaticum.
Yeah. Tolkien didn't write allegories. It didn't write allegories, so it isn't a host, just similar. Lembas is said to be more potent when it is the only form of nourishment. Fasting before communion is common. The Lembas does Gollum no good, just as communion does nothing for someone in a serious state of sin.
Mm-hmm.
Frodo thinks it would help him, just as the sacrament is supposed to help us. Both are wafers. You can probably see other connections. So
yeah, right on.
You're right, David. We that was something that we should have.
Yeah, thanks for bringing that out,
more.
David. Like it's certainly a parallel that I was familiar with, but we didn't hit upon it in that particular episode, but. I really like the things that you put in there about why Gollum rejects it, and just to be clear, so David used kind of a more obscure term, the Viaticum. Viaticum, but just more generally speaking, the Eucharist, right? That's another name that Catholics give to the Eucharist or the communion bread, right? That we believe is Jesus, right? Mm-hmm. And so he was just kind of bringing out the how Tolkien's Catholic faith may have helped him develop those ideas.
Right.
So thanks for bringing that up.
Yeah, thank you, David. Yeah, it was very insightful.
Yeah.
Good. Well, thank you guys. Thank you to everyone. I need to apologize. I've not responded to emails in a while. Mm-hmm. But I hope that doesn't discourage anybody from writing, because just know it will get mentioned on the air. If you don't get a response in your inbox, you'll definitely get a shout out on air, which to me I think is even better than something in your inbox. Well, I mean, haven't you been officially like crowned the queen of correspondence, right? So as a queen, you can't be like overthrown, right? So I think you're good. Oh, I know, but I just, I feel bad because I know I don't like it when people don't get back to me. Mm-hmm. But I will get back to you. It just might not be in the way that you expect. Interesting. Yeah. No idea what that means, but I actually don't either, but it sounded good when I said it. I thought of it anyway. It sounded good in my head. Mysterious. But no, we very much love hearing from everybody. Absolutely. So please keep it up. Keep all the correspondence coming. We do. All right. Thanks again to our patrons. Y'all rock. Executive producer steady. William Hutton, as well as Bridge, Josh Sosa, Brian Orr, Margaret Lyon, Emilio Perea, Zeke Farmer, Caleb Santana, James Applegate, Douglas Underhill, and Caitlin Fascista. So yes, thank you guys. We appreciate you guys. We appreciate your patronage and helping us bring the Tolkien Road to the world. And we appreciate all of our listeners. Thank you for listening, and drop us a line, and we love hearing from you. Yeah, always love it. We will, so Haiku for next time are due on Wednesday, which is April 5th? 5th, I think, yeah. So get them in by then. If you miss the deadline, you get them in like a day late, we'll probably still get it on the air, but even if you don't, we'll make sure it gets posted on Twitter. Yeah. So. Yeah. All right. Well, thank you guys. Thanks, everybody. Thanks for listening. We'll talk at you next time. We'll be here. All right. So should you. That's right. All right. Bye, guys. Bye. Please remember to check out truemyths.org and tolkienroad.com for show notes and plenty of other Tolkien goodness. Also, if you're enjoying the podcast, would you please leave the Tolkien Road a rating and feedback on iTunes? It's a great way to support the show and takes less than a minute. On our next episode, we'll continue our journey through the Lord of the Rings with Book 4, Chapter 4, of Herbs and Stewed Rabbit. Please send haiku or other correspondence to tolkienroadpodcast@gmail.com. You can also find us on Facebook at facebook.com/tolkienroad and on Twitter via @tolkienroad. Thanks for listening, and until next time, the road goes ever on.